doing some white for the eyes here, because we're going to do our lighter color first, and then we'll do the white in the eyes, and then a brown around the eye for his goggles and for his strap for his helmet, and then a lighter brown for the top of the helmet and inside that buckle there. So we start with our white, making sure, particularly with white, you want to have a real clean brush, which we do. So just a little bit, we don't need much. Not much on the paintbrush there, as you can see. So for this one, I'm going to sneak up on the line and work my way to the middle of the eye, like so. I'm not going over the line, I'm just sneaking up to it. And if you wanted to, you could probably leave this section here unpainted and just use the light color of the timber as the white of the eye. But I want to show you guys how I do it, so you can do it too if you want. So resting my model on my bench, just the tiniest little bit of paint. And if I get a little bit on the other side of the line like that, I'm okay with that, because I know I'm coming back with the dark brown for the goggles afterwards. And what I don't want to do is put too much paint on that it takes too long to dry. So if there's a bit of extra paint, I'm just going to either try and wipe it off or move it around like so. So there's the white of our eyes done. Wash our brush. And whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to do the blue. I'm going to do the blue around the fuselage, the top and bottom section of the fuselage. So a little bit of blue, just a touch of water, and I'm going to start up here at the nose. So we've got a nostril here, which on this side is painted black, so we're going to do that again. So I'll try not to get paint in that area. Alright, so a quick check to see how we're going so far. The tops of our wings are done. We're going to do these sections here red, as I mentioned. We've got the yellow done in the fuselage. We're going to do the blue down the bottom. And then from there, it's about doing the brown on the helmet, red on the tail section here. And that's how it's going to look when we're all finished. Pretty cool, huh? So we'll get back to it. So picking up my smaller brush to do the little blue details in through here. This is probably one of the trickiest parts of painting this model, is doing it right through there. So, clean brush. And remembering our red surfaces are our control surfaces on the top wing and our control surfaces here on the tail of the plane. And wherever there's an edge, I'd like to try and run my brush along that edge, as you can see there. And then for here, I'm actually going to create a scalloped effect, where instead of going straight, I'm going to move my brush in an arc, like so, and create the outline first, and then fill it in. It's good to practice in the bigger areas as well before you start getting into the small areas here too, so you can really get yourself prepared and have a nice steady hand So when you come to do these small areas, we should do it nice and easily. So it's time to paint these little circles in here, and I'm going to do those a dark blue. I've got the finest brush that I have. I'm going to dip it in the water a little bit, and then I'm going to take some of my blue and I'm going to bring it towards my black. I'm just going to clean my brush a bit, and then I'm going to take a little bit of my black. I'm going to mix it in, just not with a whole lot of the blue or a whole lot of the black. I'm just going to mix in a little bit here. And I don't need a lot. If I look at how much paint I need to apply, it's just a small amount around each circle there. So it's not very much at all. Pretty much it'd be the amount of paint you can put on the brush at once would be how much paint I need, I think. This for me is the real fun part of model making, is doing all the little details. Beautiful. Okay, looking good. All right, wash my brush. And all right, what are we gonna do next in the Charlie Boots workshop? We are going to paint the brown straps around the helmet here. So we've got our brown. I'm going to do a little bit of water on the brush. Make sure I get all the blue off of it. A little dip of water. You can also use your paper here to wash off any excess paint you have on your brush. So this is a really important area we get it right. Everyone is drawn to look at the eyes of whether that's an animal or a person, and that includes this model too. So people are going to look at the eyes of your model and their helmet. So make sure you do a really steady, clean job, which is what I planned on doing myself. Now I'm using brushes here, but you could use a texter if you wanted to. If you had a brown texter, texters have a very fine tip, and that means that you can do a lot of detailed work with them. So it's a very small gap between the eye and the cheek. So I just want to take my time. I'm just going to get the very tip of my brush and just very small dabs through that area. I'm not going to try and drag my brush. I'm just going to continue those dabs through there. So whilst that's drying, I'm also going to use the same brown to paint these struts. By the time I finish painting these struts, the goggles and the strap for the leather helmet will be dry, and then we can paint those too. Okay, so our plane's really coming along. We've got obviously the left side is done. We've got the right side just about completed. We just need to put the tan color on the top of the helmet here and do a bit of detail on the propeller. And that's it, so just about there, team. Pretty excited. On to the painting of the helmet just here. So we're gonna take our brown and our white and we're gonna mix up and make a color that's very similar to on the other side there. And you think about the leather helmets that flyers would have worn back in the old days. They had leather helmets and they had goggles to keep the wind out. And that's exactly what we're trying to replicate here. So I've wet my brush just a little bit. If there's any excess water, I'll take that off. And I'm gonna take a little bit of my brown, bring it over here towards my white. Give my brush a clean so I don't get my white dirty. Wipe off the excess. I love how this artwork's coming along, isn't that beautiful? I might have to sign that, Aaron from Charlie Boots, and hang it up on the wall. So a little bit of white. I'm just gonna do a little bit of white at a time. I think I'm gonna put some white here next to it, and I may use it all, I may not. Now what you can also do is, because leather is a natural material, you don't have to mix this all the way through. If you wanted to have a little bit of extra dark brown in there and then see some streaks coming through, that would be okay too, I really like how that helmet has come out here. It's got a little bit of different texture through it. Very happy with that. We're going to use the same brown to do a bit of features on the propeller. Back in the day, propellers were made by gluing lots of pieces of timber together and then shaping it with a special machine to get the correct shape of the propeller. So you'd often see different lines through there. So what we're going to do is there's some lines here, but we're going to use this color brown to follow one of those lines, more or less, and then do it on the opposite side. And then take our darker brown, add in just that little bit of detail there. Yes, very nice. Okay, I think the last things we've got to do, a little bit of red in the mouth, and then the pupil of the eye, and we are done. So a touch of red. Now we're going to be very careful here. That mouth is very small, and so just going to very gradually apply it ever so steady with the brush. If I can't see the end of my brush properly, I'm going to get closer so I can get a really good view of where the end of that brush is connecting with my model. You guys must be just as excited as I am to paint this last little bit. It is the eye of the plane. We're going to take a little bit of our black and just a tiny touch of water. I'm going to see how much I got on there. And what I might even do, and I think this is a good idea for you guys too, is to practice doing an eye on my piece of paper. And I'm just going to put the brush down and do a dot like that and see how hard I need to push to get the shape I'm looking for. Alright, and if I push too hard, it'll make the bristles move apart. So I'm just going to spin my brush like so. A little bit of black. And for this one, I'm definitely going to do my little dab technique. Nice and steady. You can see how as soon as you add the black to that eye, it makes it look so amazing. Same technique, a little bit of a dab here and there, staying inside our lines. And that is it. Alright guys, that's the end of lesson 4. Hopefully whatever piece you've chosen to paint, it looks amazing. You've taken your time, you've painted it just how you planned it, starting with the big areas and finishing with the detailed areas. So looking forward to seeing you in the last lesson, which is the next one, lesson 5, where we talk about what we've learned throughout this workshop and how to customize and do some extra details on your model. I'll see you there.